If you haven't figured it out by now, light is a theme. So I'm going to begin my reflection with a classic Hasidic story. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of these. They're set in about the 18th century, Central Europe, little shtetls. If you think of it, these were little towns that were all Jewish, mostly, self-sufficient. There would have been possibly a non-Jewish town not far away or not. And they had their own leadership. They were pretty much autonomous within themselves. So this is the stories of the shtetls, of the Hasidic stories, and let's open with one. This one time, in the little shtetl in Silesia, which is now Western Poland, on the first night of Chanukah, Reb Abner was standing around the menorah with his disciples, with his students. They said the prayers, they lit the shamash, and with that they lit the first Chanukah candle. It danced for a moment and shed a merry light, and then, suddenly, it went out. The Rabbi and his students looked for a draft to stop up, but finding none, they lit it again. And again, it went out. They blamed one another for breathing too hard, for sneezing, for waving their hands. They lit the candle time and time again, and it kept going out. After a while, they gave up and watched the shamash burn low. Abruptly, the door burst open, and there stood a frightening apparition. Large and looming, Reb Abner and his students huddled in muted panic. It stepped through the door, shook off a mountain of snow, unwrapped scarves and hats and gloves and coats, and there before them stood a traveler. He gave a great sigh of relief, and then he told everyone that he had gotten lost in an unfamiliar woods. The darkness had set in, and he was unable to find his way. He was searching for a marker, for a sign, and then suddenly, a single dancing flame appeared before his eyes, and he followed it. It would go out at times, but it kept reappearing, and it led him back to the path, out of the forest, and here to the synagogue of Reb Abner. Reb Abner and his students welcomed the traveler. They took his wet clothes to hang near the fire, gave him a drink and a latke, and then they all turned to look at the menorah, and there, much to their bemusement, flickering bright and merry, was the first candle of Chanukah, back where it belonged. We seem to have an instinctive need for light, especially at this time of year when the days are short and the nights are long and cold seems to seep in at every crack. And to clarify, yes, I am talking about the Northern Hemisphere. Regardless of location, though, festivals of light are some of the most common cultural traditions around the world. Right here, right now, we are celebrating Hanukkah and Advent. There's also Kwanzaa in the African American tradition, Diwali in the Hindu tradition, the Chinese New Year, Eid al-Fitr in the Muslim tradition, and that's just naming a few. It's hardly surprising that humanity would celebrate light, especially in the season where there's so little of it. We're biologically evolved to need light, and therefore, without it, we feel less safe and considerably more irritable. For a communal animal, because that's what we are, it makes sense that our societies have found, created, or adopted excuses for coming together and sharing warmth and light and companionship. Light is amazing in so many ways. The ability to create it has allowed humanity to extend the day, to be more productive, frankly, to change the world. Light shapes our space and mood, impacts our emotions and our decision-making. Light means good. Light means joy. Light means freedom. And as noted in the readings we just had, our religions associate light with God and God's teachings. Light was the first of God's creation. It opens the Shabbat with the lighting of candles, and it closes with the dousing of the Havdalah candle. In the Torah, in the book of Proverbs, tells us that the human soul is a candle. The Zohar, which is the book that describes the Jewish mystical practices of Kabbalah, the title literally means light. Moses encountered God in a burning bush, and Moses' face radiated light after ascending Mount Sinai. The list of places and ideas where divinity and light are intertwined, it's almost endless. It's also really obvious. The presence of light is undeniable, but it's not tangible. The absence of light is equally undeniable and equally insubstantial. But even for those of us for whom religious light is not our main goal, light remains important. And frankly, light is a gift that we can give to ourselves and to others. We spread light with kindness and compassion, with opening our hearts and extending our hands in friendship. We can smile, we can dance, we can play. We can give and take light in an unending circle. But here's the best part. We have opportunities to revel in real lights. I'm going to name a few. There's zoo lights, the Meadowlark Winter Walk of Lights in Vienna, Virginia, the Light and Train Extravaganza at the U.S. Botanic Garden, Winter Lights Festival in Gaithersburg, the Garden of Lights at Brookside Gardens. The list goes on. It is so long, I can't begin to get through all of them. I gotta say, that is awesome. The list is so long, I can't get through that. I can't list all the opportunities we have to experience light and brightness and color here in our area. So I say, if you can find the time, grab your family, grab your friends, grab a coat and hat and gloves, and go out and celebrate the season of light. We may not have a magical Chanukah candle leading the way, but we can make the lights we have magical. Thank you.